Savoya's made the lead. Here's the Auld Floozie coming after Savoya. In behind them, Charmont. Then Stars in a line further back into Palace Rock and Concessus. At the 200 metres, it's Savoya in front. The Auld Floozie's challenging hard. Charmont on the inside. Savoya and the Auld Floozie. The Auld Floozie got the lead short of the line from Savoya and Charmont, and the Auld Floozie will win it.
The Group 3 Sunline Bars going the way of the Auld Floozie for Stephen Marsh and Danielle Johnson. Good effort, wasn't it? We have a chat to Stephen in a moment, but Twiggy's joined us. Evening, Twig, how was your day?
G'day, DA. Yeah, no, good day, great day's racing and some very solid performances. I thought the Auld Floozie from an Oaks perspective was outstanding.
All right, we have Stephen Marsh, the trainer, with us. Stephen, good evening, congratulations.
Thanks, DA. Yeah, no, really happy with that, and as Twiggy said, you know, great sort of sight towards the Oaks.
I was going to say, because she's come off the pace today at New Plymouth, she sort of led up and kicked strongly. Today she's come from off them, so really pleasing from that Oaks perspective.
Yeah, look, she settled nicely. She jumped good, like that's the key. Her last two runs at Ellerslie, she's sort of got back and hit the line on slow tempos, and today she sat just in behind the speed, following the two favourites, which was nice, and you know, out-toughed them at the end, so no, things are looking really good for her.
And that's no mean feat, out-toughing two of Murray's horses in a tight finish.
Well, I'll tell you, that Savoya, when we drew a little neck on that, I was expecting, oh, here we go, it'll kick back, but no, to be fair to the Auld Floozie, she really stuck to her guns well and out-toughed Savoya, which, yeah, not a lot do out-tough those colours, do they?
What did you think when the whistle went? Do you think you're going to have to put your Perry Mason act on again?
I just rolled up to the dais and I thought, I nearly fell off. I thought, oh, here we go again, shades of matter. I nearly died, actually. When they said fifth against fourth, I did a little twirl and jump back up.
Beautiful, beautiful.
She might be a touch underrated, Stephen. Like, you go back through her form, and in particular her last one, she beat Savaria. Savaria's come out and dead heated in that group race on Saturday, so she might have just snuck under the guard a little, eh?
She has, and you know, the two races, the 8 Carat and the Sir Tristram, she fell out of the gates and was just never in it. But you know, you go back to her first win this time, and she's run 1-9, come from back, and she's looked really promising then. She went through a bit of a lull, but you know, she's back to her best now, and you know, hey, you can't fault her last two, can you? To be fair.
It seems like the form line to run with now, doesn't it? The Savaria, Platinum Witness, and now Stephen's horse coming out and beating the Auld Floozie, Murray's two.
Savoya, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Good day overall.
Really happy with today. It started off really well. We sort of thought, you know, it was one of those days we thought we could, you know, get a couple of winners, but it's always nice on days like this. Obviously you got to bring the A team out and hope for the best. It started good with the Quinella, and things just kept rolling on. And yeah, look, wrapped with today, 3 winners, and narrowly beaten in the last. So day to remember.
2 seconds.
Yeah, 3 wins, 2 seconds, and I thought Stars in Line went well enough too. She boxed on well, and she might just scrape in at the bottom and just get into the Oaks, and if she doesn't, she'll go to the Manitou Classic on the 28th.
With the Auld Floozie, do you have any question marks over the 2400 metres, the Oaks trip, or you're pretty confident she'll get that? I'm
really confident. The good thing about her, she just jumps in a race now, and she'll go to sleep. You know, she goes to sleep over 1200, you know, mile, 2400, you know, 2100 today, but nothing seems to phase her. She just puts herself in a race and goes to sleep. So no, I don't think, especially as a 3-year-old, I don't think she's a dead set stayer.
Yeah.
But I think this time in, I think 2400 she'll get there.
And I think the key, like you say, sorry Bush, the key is, you said she can run 1-9 for 1200 metres too. So, you know, when they're sharp like that, it certainly helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, you know, next time in, I think she could probably win a nice mile or something, but this time in, you know, as a 3-year-old at this time of year, you can get away with running 2400, and you don't have to be the best stayer.
Yeah.
You can just sometimes be the best horse.
Yeah, and they might never be 2400 metre horses again, but they get away with it because of what you said. Look, I love the way she went to the line. She pinned her ears back. She was very competitive to the wire, but Danielle riding with such confidence, that must be great when you leg her on. We saw it on King's Cross. She didn't panic, probably got a spot further back than you might have wanted to be, but she's riding with so much confidence, and when they're doing that, the gaps appear, don't they?
for sure. You know, a lot of it is, as you say, it's a confidence thing.
Yeah.
And she's getting on the horses knowing they're good chances, and she's riding them with a lot of confidence and not panicking, which I think is the big key. And look, on those 3 today, they were, you know, dominant in the end. Ellerslie, you know, led up nicely and whatnot, and yeah, she's obviously on top of her game, and it's great to have her on, to be honest.
You target these maiden races worth 30,000 with a couple of really good maidens. I thought they're both very progressive horses, but you couldn't help but be super impressed with King's Cross. He was really good.
Look, I thought his first up run was super.
Yeah.
You know, like horses don't do it. You know, like he was green, and he's still not fully there, and he missed a kick by, you know, I don't know, 6 or 8 lengths. Came home really good, but racing for 30,000 in maidens is brilliant, and that's what racing should be. And to come here and race for that sort of money, it's great, and it makes it all worthwhile. And you know, we're lucky enough to pick up a couple of the maidens today, and you know, they weren't the biggest of fields, and I think people veer away from seeing the $30,000 maiden in the book, and they think, oh, we can't compete in that. But that's what racing's all about. And I'll tell you what, it keeps people going, and you know, you run second in one of them, it's like winning a...
Well, it's better than winning a midweek
yeah,
one.
Better than winning it, and it keeps people going. I mean, if we had more of them, you'd find those $80,000 to $150,000 trial winners would stay here.
Yeah, exactly.
Fields would be bigger, and it would help the industry a lot. And
geez, you just solved New Zealand racing, Stephen.
Well,
no?
if only, but that's true. You know,
I mean, the winner
need.
gets $18,250 to win today. I mean, as opposed to, you know, $3,000 on a midweek, which is just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes it all worthwhile, and yeah, it's great the club can put that money into it.
Is he the sort of horse that's going to progress this preparation to maybe get to Queensland?
The original plan was to sell him.
Yeah.
I was actually meant to take him to Hara on Monday and put the stake up, but
Thank goodness you didn't.
Thank goodness, yeah. But I said to Paul, I think this horse might be a little bit better than worrying about putting the stake up. I think we can take him to a good meet in Ellerslie and save that 1,000.
And run for 30.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet you were worried when the stablemate was in front of the 200.
Well, I'll tell you what, when he was under the pump a little bit at about the 800, I thought, geez.
Should have been a Hara.
Yeah, I was actually looking at I was looking for Hara then. But I wouldn't let him go for too cheap. I think he's a progressive horse.
Yeah.
And his 2 runs, if you do his sectionals and whatnot, he's actually a pretty smart horse. And he's not fully there yet. He's got a lot of improvement. I think he's going to be a horse you'll see as a 4-year-old getting over a bit of ground. And bit of a future in him.
He's a nice sales pitch.
Yeah, well.
Sales pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, congratulations once again. 3 wins on the day, and of course the win there in the Group 3 Sunline, and we obviously will look forward to the Oaks with I guess a bit of excitement.
Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it. Cheers.
Well done, Steve.
All right, Stephen Marsh, the trainer of the Auld Floozie, who took out the Sunline bars today. The winning jockey was Danielle Johnson. Let's hear from the Beaten Brigade.
Craig, what'd you make of Savoia?
Yeah, I thought it was a good run today. You know, it's been a while since she raced last, and she put herself up on outside the speed and travelled nice. She sort of got run off a little bit turning in, but she still travelled into it nicely, and the other horses just worn her down, but she fought bravely to the line.
Okay, thanks, Craig. And Opie Bossum, what'd you make of Chamont?
She had every chance, and she battled away okay. She'll go to the Oaks and probably be a good place chance, you know.
All right, so there was Opie Bosson, and they were the Beaten Brigade. The Auld Floozie just a little bit too good, although Butch, you'd have to say that Savoia was pretty brave in the end.
Yeah, she was brave. Look, she just kept on fighting to the line, and the 2,400 metres is going to be no problems to her, I don't think, in the Oaks. But you couldn't help but be impressed with the winner. She was really good in that form line. Through Savaria might be the one.
Indeed. All right, Steve Hunt has joined us here live, not from the racing desk this time, from the track. Steve, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, lads. Good to be here in person.
Indeed. You must have been, pretty impressed with what you saw from the Auld Floozie.
Yeah, definitely. She's been the big mover, obviously, in the last 12 hours. She was at $12 prior to today's win in the Sunline Vars. She's now as short as $7. You see the market there, option 987. She was as long as $41 before winning the Oaks Prelude at Taranaki 3 or 4 weeks ago, and she's a bit bulletproof, regardless of a dry or wet track. In 2 weeks' time at Trentford, she's definitely the go. But after today's run, I'm confident to say that Savaria will be the favourite. I thought Savoia had to win and win well to overtake that favouritism tag, but I'm pretty confident Savaria will start a warm favourite. over the 2,400 metres. Probably of note coming out of that race, Savoia 5 out to $6, Charmont rock solid at 10, and then a few there at longer odds. But definitely the horse, the talking point out of today's fillies race, the Auld Floozie.
Savoia, were you disappointed?
I think it was a pass mark, to be fair. I thought she had her chance, definitely the whole way down the straight, and she's been up a while, saying that it comes out of that stable which they can hold the form, no doubt about it. But it will be interesting to see where the punters go for a Saturday week at that around about that $6 price, lads.
I think, excuse me, I think Savaria is the one. I think she's got the right profile into the race. Her run was outstanding at Hastings. I think you've got it right with your market, her at $4. I think Royden Bergeson's had that race targeted for a long, long time, and he's had a careful preparation towards it, and she's the one for mine.
That's the key to it, isn't he? He's looked after her, he's been very light on her, and I was a Savoia fan Monday night, but I'm jumping ship.
Savaria into $4. Any interest since Saturday at
She's
$4?
clearly our worst result from the top 5 or 6 in the market, which you know, it's hard to say on live TV, but yeah, she's close to 6-figure loss, and I'm saying probably come final field market and the close of that market, it will be 6 figures on it, because she'll be very well backed on day.
So just for the people out there, how do you manage that now? Because you've got her at $4, which, to be fair, is probably short enough in a quite a competitive race. Do you just wind her in to turn the tap off?
You've got to be careful. Maybe in futures markets, yes, but when opening a final field market, you've got to take that futures market aside and price it as that never existed, or you can get yourself in trouble. You can open it too short and they back everything around it in the final field.
Yeah.
You've got no horse running for you.
Yeah.
So when the futures market closes, you just got to push that aside, pretend it never really existed, and open a final field market as it is.
What if you've got a real liability and you're trying to catch up some? No?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, the example of the Derby, Volkstock and Barrel, that was one left field. It was 300-400k loss going into a final field market, so we had to be a little bit cautious there. I see you're laughing, Butch.
You couldn't really put that aside.
No. It was a bit big to do that, but yeah, and as it turned out, we went too far off the mark. We opened him at $2.50, $2.40, and he closed at $2.20. But yeah, a little bit different with the Oaks. It doesn't generate as much turnover as the Derby, but again, she's going to be clearly our worst result come Saturday afternoon in about 12 days' time.
What about the day overall today? One for the bookies, one for the punters.
About squared, DA. I was in a bit of trouble after 3 or 4 races. Thad and I were texting each other after about 3 or 4, and we're in a bit of strife. I think the 2 horses it came down to was Savoia, who closed in the red after opening at $2.20, and then also LA Eagle, who was in an earlier race and around about a $2.40 quote after opening at $2.80. They were the 2 anchor multi horses. I think last time I looked at it, before any of those 2 ran, there was 1,200 multis running through either horse, which is pretty high. So I would have taken one of them getting beaten. 2 of them, I'm a very happy man.
I'm sure you are. All right, thanks, Stephen. You'll be back after the break. Also after the break, Opie Bosson here on Weigh In, live from Ellerslie.